Alright, so I wanted to make more intimate videos, and that means going outside. Downside to that, it's a windy day. Hopefully the mic doesn't pick up the wind noise and you can actually hear me. But besides that, what I want to talk about today is a couple of things. And that's starting off with the Stoic practice, and that's basically knowing what's inside and outside of your control. Whatever's inside, you do what you can. Whatever's outside, you accept. Because really, there's nothing you can do about it. And the more time put on complaining about the things you cannot control is the less times you can focus on the things you can control. The other Stoic practice, and I'll explain Stoicism in another video, is Amor Fati, which is a love of fate. Because there's another Stoic practice which is basically acquiescence, accepting everything that happens to you without protest. Because again, it's outside of your control, there's not much you can do with it. Like me, I work at Starbucks. The fact that there's a lot of people inside and outside the drive-thru, I can't control that. I can't tell them to go away. The things I can control, however, are my own actions. If I'm taking orders, I speed through them while connecting with customers. The other thing is to make the drinks quicker while still having the quality. But it begins with accepting the situation, because it's going to continue to happen whether you like it or not. And then you evaluate the situation. Where's the bottleneck? Where do you need your people? Is it on bar? Is it taking orders? Is it warming up items? Is it restocking on things that we're out of? Milks, refreshers, stuff like that. Once you've evaluated, you come up with solutions. Placing more people on bar, taking orders, etc. And then at the end is gratitude. Because no matter the circumstance, you learn something from this. Whether to be more accepting of the situations, or on where to place people, or something intimate, something personal. Now that I explained that, Amor Fati is a little different. It's included in what I just explained, but it's a bit different. Amor Fati is a love of fate, a loving of whatever happens. Not just accepting it, but embracing it. Saying, I wouldn't want things to be any other way. Because right now they look like a struggle, but later on, in the future, they become blessings. Why do you think people who have outgrown their struggles and are now successful reminisce about the past? They reminisce about the obstacles. Sometimes they even go back and put themselves in that position. That is Amor Fati. That is loving your fate. That no matter what happens to you, you embrace it, you enjoy it, you're thankful for it, and you wouldn't ask for anything to be differently. Another Stoic practice, and one that I actually have tattooed on me, is Memento Mori, which means, in a rough translation, remembering that you are mortal, that your time here is finite, that one day you will pass away, no longer among the living. That's not meant to be sad. It's been fated to you since birth. The quicker you accept this, the quicker you can move on to the things that actually matter. That's what Memento Mori does. It pushes away all the things that you don't really care about, that don't necessarily bring you value. There's actually a quote by Seneca that says, we're scared of dying, but we don't realize that every second that passes now belongs to death. Because we can't go back to the past. We can only live in the moment and plan for the future. I know that sounds a little bit morbid, but it's actually an important lesson. Because each second that passes now belongs to death means that every second that has yet to pass is an opportunity to live, to actually enjoy the moment, to feel joyfulness and fulfillment. It is genuinely a gratifying realization. Alright, there's a little bit more Stoic lessons that I actually want to talk about, and that's about training, practice, not just with work or exercise or sports or schoolwork, but everyday practice. How you deal with difficult situations, whether you accept them or you overthink them and make them worse. That's precisely why I made a video about how you do anything is how you do everything. Because if you are always pessimistic, everything is going to look overwhelming. That's why every day you gotta practice resilience. A bit of optimism with a bit of pessimism, and including a lot of realism in there. Not just seeing the situation as more difficult than it is, or more positive, but seeing it for what it is, and then going from there. It's not just about training your body, but training your mind and how you perceive the world. So basically what training means is, if you're practicing Amor Fati, if you're practicing Memento Mori, or if you're being acquiescent, that's what you fall back on. You tell yourself, I love this situation and I wouldn't ask for things to be any different. For Memento Mori, that would be embracing every moment, loving every moment, living every moment, because once it passes, it no longer belongs to you. And that whole 4-step process is actually in one of my books called The Flame. It's basically a 4-step process of acceptance, evaluation, resolution, and appreciation. That's the 4 steps. So just like the example I gave about Starbucks and it being super busy, you accept the situation because it's going to continue. You can't change it, and the most you can do is deal with it. Evaluation. Where's the bottleneck? Where's the problem? And the resolution would be placing more people there or finding an alternative. And then final is appreciation, because there's an opportunity in every obstacle. You may not have asked for this moment, you may not have asked for the busyness, but you have been made it better because of it. Whether you're faster on bar, you're better at connecting with customers, better at sequencing with food and drinks. Anyways, I hope that for a first video this actually is helpful. I'm going to be covering more of this kind of content, mostly because I've already written on it, and all I have to do is repeat what I've written, with a little twist of maybe including some new, life experience. But that's all I have for today. Hasta luego.